Hello, I'm Tinbit Ermias, and you're listening to NPR's Book of the Day. Today, memoirs by two icons. In a minute, we'll hear from late-night legend Arsenio Hall. But first, Brandy. The R&B singer is among my favorites. In fact, her 1994 self-titled debut album is one of the first CDs I ever bought as a kid. And through the 90s and early 2000s, Brandy would go on to make her mark in television and film and gain millions of fans in the process. But it came at a cost. She writes about them in her new memoir, Phases. She spoke about it with Morning Edition host A. Martínez.
This message comes from 1-800-Flowers. Know someone in your life celebrating a birthday? They deserve to feel truly celebrated. That's what 1-800-Flowers has helped people do for 50 years, turning everyday gestures into meaningful moments of connection. And this April, during 1-800-Flowers' 50th birthday celebration event, when you buy one bouquet, get a second bouquet 50% off at 1-800-Flowers.com/NPR.
This message comes from NPR sponsor Carvana, making buying a car 100% online with real, transparent pricing and customizable financing that fits your budget. Browse thousands of cars and get yours delivered. Visit Carvana.com today. Delivery fees and terms may apply. This message comes from Kachava. Sometimes you crave a treat while prioritizing your wellness goals. Kachava's newest coffee flavor is the perfect treat. This all-in-one nutrition shake delivers bold flavor from decaffeinated Brazilian beans with 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, and more. Treat yourself to the flavor and nutrition your body craves. Go to Kachava.com and use code NPR. New customers get 15% off their first order. That's KACHAVA.com, code NPR.
This week, Brandy Norwood, better known to fans as simply Brandy, was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Today is Brandy Day in Hollywood.
In a new memoir titled Phases, the singer, songwriter, and actress pulls back the showbiz curtain on what it was like to grow up while the world watched. To learn more about her book and her upbringing, I started by listing some of the many cultural moments she's given us since the 1990s. Because I got to admit, Brandy, when I look back and I remember back on your career, let's just start with 1994. Let's just start with your self-titled album, Brandy. I mean, right after that, 1996, you star in the television series Moesha that lasted until 2001. And then in 1997, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella comes out. You become the first Black Disney princess, and then Never Say Never comes out in 1998. So there were no mistakes from 1994 to 1998.
I was living my dream. I was doing things that I didn't even imagine myself doing. I mean, all I wanted to do was be a singer and touch people with my voice. You know, I did feel the pressure as well. So,
what was the cost?
My childhood, my privacy, my identity. But once I was able to step away from the limelight and really work on myself, I was able to grow and become an amazing person and a mom and a role model for my daughter in the best way possible.
How old's your daughter now?
My daughter's 23.
23 years old.
And she's an artist. She loves music.
Does she ever cover mom songs?
Of course. When my daughter was really, really young, she only listened to Chris Brown and a few other artists. And I'm like, wait a minute. Is she ever going to listen to my music and love me the way she loves Chris Brown and all these other artists? I'm like, I got to get in there some kind of way. And then one day I heard her playing, ha, 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 ha. I'm like, what? What do you know about Aphrodisiac? And so she goes, Mom, I love your music. And there I realized that I'm her favorite artist.
Take me back. So after your first album, 1996. Take me back to what made you want to go into television and this show, Moesha?
Well, because Moesha was, it was nothing like Moesha on television. It wasn't a young Black girl with braids on television, just tackling so many topics about life and what teenagers go through.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I watched it is because it was set in Los Angeles. I'm a sucker, Brandy, for anything set in Los Angeles.
Leimert Park.
Yeah. Now, another stamp in time, 1997. So in the middle of the run of Moesha, you film Cinderella, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella.
What? Yeah.
Cinderella, hot water. Cinderella, warm milk. Cinderella, Cinderella. I'm as mild and as meek as a mouse.
I mean, you really hadn't met Whitney Houston until then?
Well, I met Whitney Houston at the Kids' Choice Awards.
Uh-huh.
And that's when, we created a beautiful friendship, a relationship, and then she casted me as Cinderella after that. But it's still Whitney Houston, let's be very clear. So we are in the studio singing, and her voice is that close to me. I'm like, what is happening to my life right now? It was unbelievable to just be in her presence.
If you could just take me back to maybe a moment where you thought you impressed her with a run.
Oh my God, I don't think I've ever shared this before. But we were in the car, and I was playing her, I think, one of my songs from a new album. Probably was from Full Moon. But I was playing her a song, and she goes, I just want you to sing from your diaphragm. And I'm like, what? That's what I am singing from my diaphragm. She goes, no, you're not. You're not singing from your, I want you to, I was like, everybody ain't Whitney Houston. Everybody. That's how my voice sounds, Miss Whitney. It's not gonna sound full and powerful like your voice. It's not Whitney Houston.
Now, I wanna talk about the song you won a Grammy for, your duet with Monica. Tell us about how that duet came together, because that song is pretty much perfect.
Thank you so much. Well, when I was creating the song with Rodney Jerkins and LaShawn Daniels, I was watching a lot of Jerry Springer, and I saw this show where the show was called The Boy Is Mine, pretty much The Boy Is Mine. And I was like, we should do a song with another artist like Monica. Monica got on that song, and it went number one. And it won us a Grammy, and it put us back on tour 27 years later in 2025.
In 1996, you went to the prom with Kobe Bryant.
I sure did.
That was a huge story in L.A.
Yes.
That Kobe and Brandy went to the prom together. How did that happen?
I met him just randomly, and when I first met him, he said, I'm the number one basketball player, high school basketball player in the world.
He said that?
Yes, and he says...
that sounds like Kobe.
Yes, and he says, I would love to take you to the prom. And so we went to the prom, and I never would have gotten the opportunity to go to the prom if Kobe didn't ask me, because I wasn't in regular school. So I never would have gotten that experience. And so I'm grateful to him to this day.
It's a moment from the 90s, a cultural stamp.
It's a moment I'll never forget, for sure.
And none of us will ever forget it either. Brandy's memoir is titled Phases. It is out now. Brandy, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you so much. I love your energy. Thank you.
This message comes from NPR sponsor Carvana. Carvana believes selling your car should be refreshingly simple. Enter your license plate or VIN, get a real offer down to the penny, and schedule a pickup on your time. No surprises. Sell your car today at Carvana.com. Pickup fees may apply. This message comes from Kachava. Sometimes you crave a treat while prioritizing your wellness goals. Kachava's newest coffee flavor is the perfect treat. This all-in-one nutrition shake delivers bold flavor from decaffeinated Brazilian beans with 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, and more. Treat yourself to the flavor and nutrition your body craves. Go to Kachava.com and use code NPR. New customers get 15% off their first order. That's KACHAVA.com, code NPR.
You know, every day on Up First, NPR's Golden Globe-nominated morning news podcast, we bring you 3 essential stories. At the heart of each story are questions. What really happened? What really mattered? What happens next? At NPR, we stand for your right to be curious and to follow the facts. Follow Up First wherever you get your podcasts and start your day knowing what matters and why.
Some of my earliest memories as a kid involve me sneaking out of my bedroom to catch the Arsenio Hall Show as my dad watched. There was something really magical about it. Arsenio had such a command of the stage. The band was amazing, and the crowd was so energetic. The story of that show and all the pop culture moments it created are the subject of Hall's new memoir, Arsenio. Here he is speaking about it with Morning Edition host Michel Martin.
You cannot talk about culture in the 1990s without talking about Arsenio Hall. His late-night TV show premiered nationwide in January 1989. No desk, no sidekick. No, this was not The Tonight Show. This was a party that started with a call.
It's Arsenio!
And was met with a response. The Arsenio Hall Show was a launchpad for some of hip-hop's biggest names, a gathering place for stand-up comics, political activists, musical artists from Prince to Elton John to Shirley Caesar. At times, it was must-watch TV. He talks about all this and more in his new memoir titled Arsenio. He writes of his childhood in Ohio and how he realized he was meant to entertain.
I used to do a talk show in my basement.
How old were you?
I was about 11.
11.
And I would put out folding chairs, and the kids in the neighborhood would come and sit. And I had a record player. I'd put the needle on the record. And maybe one of the kids in the neighborhood, I remember Junior could sing. So Junior would be my musical guest. And we'd put on a Temptation song, and he would sing. And then I'd interview him.
You wanted to be Johnny Carson.
Yes, I wanted to be an old white man.
You wanted to be an old white man.
But here's the deal. I dreamed it. I planned it. So I expected it. I was too dumb and naive as a Cleveland kid to think that it might not happen.
Your show changed the face of entertainment. I don't think there's any question about that. I mean, it introduced a lot of Black artists to a wider audience. Mm-hmm. You had hard-hitting conversations about race, about politics, about sexuality. I was asking a lot of my colleagues. Everybody remembers different things. Like one person remembers your conversation with RuPaul when you asked, in a very nice way, did you want to be a woman? And he said, no, this is my art form. I'm a performer, and this is my art. People remember.
Like a lot of people in the heterosexual community, we're ignorant to certain things. I think, thank God for a friend like RuPaul or all the people that will help us to understand.
You had a conversation with Magic Johnson literally hours after he went public with his HIV status.
Yeah, that was a hard one. That was the one I didn't want to do.
Why not?
Well, first of all, I was brokenhearted. Secondly, I said to him when he called me, shouldn't you be doing like Mike Wallace or Larry King? And he says, no, I got to go where I'm comfortable. We have to do this. You have to do this. And I said, okay.
But you write that studio executives often seem to miss the point. I mean, we've got this clip of an interview that you did with NPR back in 1989. This was when your show was just about to go on. It was just about to go head-to-head against a late-night show starring Pat Sajak. And your partners at Paramount were nervous. Let me just play this clip from the interview.
They're very, very uncomfortable because the people in that meeting room are not my audience. My audience is probably much hipper and much younger than the executives I'm in a partnership with. If they want Sajak, they should have hired him. This is what I do, and I can only be Arsenio.
You know, it was prescient, right? You actually started having fights with people.
Yeah.
In fact, I think the way you put it was some of the white folks thought it was too black, and some of the black folks thought it was too white.
Yeah. It was a complicated balance. I was the Walinda of late night. I wanted to do the show that I dreamed of as a kid. When I would watch television, I could watch a talk show, and it might be a month before I saw a black person. And finally, hey, there's Ray Charles, you know? Paramount used to battle because, for instance, I said to them, okay, I just met a guy named Ice Cube. He played something for me called F the Police. But I said the word to them. And they were like, oh, no, that's not the show. We're not going in that direction. And they would dangle a carrot in front of me of saying, if you do this right, when Johnny retires, you'll be in a perfect position to replace him. And I'm like, first of all, network's never going to do the kind of show I want to do, and I'm never going to change to that degree.
And how do you feel about it now? Do you feel like mission accomplished, or do you feel...
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. I look back at the little tiny boy doing an Elvis impression who later turned out to be Bruno Mars. I look at Snoop Dogg, who didn't want to do television and told me, I don't want to mess up my street cred in Long Beach. I talked him into it, and now he's the most famous dog on the planet. He's more popular than Lassie. So
he's on the Olympics, for crying out loud.
Yes. I had to talk him into coming on and freestyling first, and then coming back when the album was finished, and him and Dre did 1, 2, 3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg, Dr. Dre at the door. That's crazy, crazy.
Bill Clinton's interview. Well, everybody who follows politics remembers, right? Mm-hmm. Did you have a sense then that this was going to be something that would change things? It changed the way people run for office.
Yeah. I also offered the show to Mr. Bush, but he turned it down.
Bush 41, the
right.
41st president.
When I was a kid, my dad was a Republican, my mother was a Democrat. I got to hear about both sides, and that's what I wanted to be as a talk show host. They saw what I was doing, and it's like, tomorrow night, George Bush and New Edition. They didn't see that in their vision, but Clinton did. And then after the numbers came in for my show, he went to MTV. He saw how you have to talk to young people.
So what's the rest of your life been for people who haven't read the book yet?
You know, it's interesting. What really dawned on me is I've been grinding, trying to make this dream come true since my basement in Cleveland. And I realized the thing I was missing was life and family. I was just working, and I wanted a child.
Yeah. And you became hyper-focused on being a dad.
So I got to parent in a whole different way than my parents got to parent, because my parents were grinding. I had a different life than my son. I was always there. I used my wealth and fame to be the best father I could be.
Arsenio Hall, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. That was cool.
Arsenio Hall's new memoir is titled, guess what it is? Arsenio.
A lot of thinking went into that.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door.
That's it for this week on NPR's Book of the Day. Let us know what you think. You can write to us at bookoftheday@npr.org. I'm Tinbin Ermias. The podcast is produced by Chloe Weiner and edited by Megan Sullivan. Our founding editor is Petra Mayer. The show elements for this week were produced and edited by Fernando Naro Roman, Danny Hensel, Todd Munt, Jacob Fenston, Lena Mohammed, Adriana Gallardo, Paige Waterhouse, Natalie Winston, and Phil Harrell. Yolanda Sanguini is our executive producer. Thank you so much for listening.
This message comes from Kachava. Sometimes you crave a treat while prioritizing your wellness goals. Kachava's newest coffee flavor is the perfect treat. This all-in-one nutrition shake delivers bold flavor from decaffeinated Brazilian beans with 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, and more. Treat yourself to the flavor and nutrition your body craves. Go to kachava.com and use code NPR. New customers get 15% off their first order. That's KACHAVA.com, code NPR.